Okay, we'll start with our presentation. Let me tell you where we're going with this tonight. I'm going to give you some background information so you can know a little bit about what's happened in the past. Then I'm going to tell you what's been done since our March 1st board meeting, and then we're going to talk about how we're moving forward. I want to start with a timeline for you. If you can see, I started prior to 2006. Our partnership with the Department of Health to come in and provide health-based classes. We know it started prior to 2006, but with some transition in both of those level jobs, we're not sure of the exact date, but we know it's been going on for quite a while. They came in during PE classes. They taught about drugs, nutrition, and abstinence. But what happened in 2016 to 2017, the Department of Health got with our school board, our school district, and we discussed a more structured curriculum due to a rise in local statistics. And I'm gonna share those teen pregnancy statistics with you here in a minute. Draw the line, respect the line was recommended by other school districts in the state of Florida. We also had a DOE contact the head of the teen pregnancy department at that time. She recommended the curriculum. Department of Health attended a conference around that same time where the curriculum was recommended as well. I want to make sure you know the curriculum is on the state board approved list. And I want you to also know that other curriculum was reviewed at that time, but it was deemed not age appropriate. In 2018, Department of Health began utilizing the curriculum in middle schools, and it's a supplemental service. This is not in conjunction with the required instruction that we're mandated to do. And I believe those two Florida statutes were mentioned at the last board meeting. That is something different from what this is. This is a supplemental service over and above what we're required to do. The curriculum was purchased by Department of Health. It was not approved by you, the board. It was an opportunity for the Department of Health to assist and address local and state health risks with the approval of parents. And here's the statistics that I want you to see. 2018 to 2020, we did have 148 teenage girls give birth. We have 3 children from the age of 13 to 14 give birth, 84 age 15 to 18, 61 age 19. From 2018 to 2021, we have 345 reported cases of STIs in individuals aged 10 to 19. And from 2017 to 2021, we had 2 teenagers aged 15 to 19 diagnosed with HIV, all in Walton County. So it was really based on statistics that were a little earlier than that, that curriculum was looked at. And I want to give you information specific to the curriculum. It was published by ETR Associates, updated in 2015. The lead researcher, she's from University of California. This is, like I said, on the approved Florida State Board of Education curriculum list in 2015. And it has 3 teacher's manuals and 3 student workbooks, one for 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade. I want to tell you how the program was implemented. The instructors are 2 Department of Health RNs. They are the experts coming in and talking with our students, but our students are supervised by Walton County School District teachers. So we have teachers in the room with our nurses for the programs. We target grades 6 through 8 at Emerald Coast Middle, Freeport Middle, and Walton Middle. Paxton, just a school-based decision. They chose 6th and 7th grade only, not 8th grade. Parent letters were also a school-based decision. Emerald Coast, Freeport Middle, and Paxton chose to do an opt-in process. So parents have to give permission for their child to go. Walton Middle, they decided to do an opt-out process. And here is the total number of minutes that is spent on the program. 6th grade, the students do 2 sessions, 50 minutes each for a total of 100 minutes. 7th and 8th grade, 3 sessions, 50 minutes each, 150 minutes. Here's specific to this year. Now I wanna reference last year, no classes were conducted as we didn't have a lot of outside groups come in. And then this year, there's Paxton, like I said, only 6th and 7th grade is what they target. So 33 is how many opted in. 63 is their total 6th grade enrollment. So 52% of their students participated this year in 6th grade. If you go down to Walton Middle, they had 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and there's their statistics. At Freeport Middle, classes were scheduled for the month of March. So when Mr. Hughes paused the program, there's been no classes at Freeport Middle this year. And then at Emerald Coast, they had 6th and 7th grade, 8th grade had not been scheduled. So you see 6th and 7th grade numbers as well.
And were these classes boys and girls were in the same room?
Typically, it was up to the teachers, our classroom teachers, how they brought kids in or mixed groups in.
So teachers at each school decided on.
They scheduled at the school. Yes, ma'am.
And there was a teacher in the classroom, there was a teacher with the children that opted out.
Yes, ma'am. The school arranged the scheduling. And so then I want to just tell you, since the last board meeting, like Superintendent Hughes mentioned, Department of Health did share that the curriculum was modified, meaning they didn't read every word in the book, they modified the curriculum. So on March 4th, Superintendent Hughes sent a letter to Department of Health asking them to provide the modifications that they were made. And we have the Department of Health here, and they'd like to come up and tell you more about their lesson modifications. Someone will pull up their PowerPoint.
Again, let me say to the board, again, I want information. I heard what we heard the other night. I want to know how we got here, where we are, what happened. I wrote to the Department of Health and I said, I need to see your lesson plans. I need you to address what you did in those classrooms, and you see another step further, I think. So they taught. I said, you get to this board meeting, I want the board to hear from you.
And this is Miss Holly Holt that you met last time, you met before, and this is RN Christy Armstrong and RN Tammy Watson.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Before the presentation, we have young ears in here. So I'd like to give an opportunity to young students in here. We still have students. This might be graphic content.
They can't hear it here, but they can hear it in classroom. He's
Of course, I mean,
He's
it's a public meeting.
good, because he's being smart.
Can I just say that 4 of us did go through the program. So we're seniors. We went through it our 8th grade year. My sister, what years did you do it? 7th and 8th. She did 7th and 8th.
And I'm pretty sure I did 7th and 8th.
Yes. So yeah, we all went through it.
Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome.
This is the team approach, okay? So we'll start here, and we'll show this slide, but they may have a little bit of a
Can
variation.
you talk into the mic, please?
And we can't see.
Can't hear you, if you talk into the mic.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Sorry. I'm Christy Armstrong, as she said, RN. I've been an RN for about 13 years, but I've worked for the Department of Health for about 3.5. So we didn't choose this program, but it was there. It was kind of chosen for us to go in and teach, and we done that to the best of our ability professionally. I just wanted to say some of the modifications that we did for sixth grade. Basically, the sixth grade lessons place emphasis on situations where students may be pressured to steal, cheat on tests, drink alcohol, smoke or vape. We present the lessons of limit setting and refusal skills in this grade in a non-sexual context. We do not discuss any type of sexual activity or anything in the sixth grade. This curriculum does build up to seventh grade and then up to eighth, and it gets a little bit more involved in those grades. The classes were to help kids think about the consequences of their actions before making a bad decision. And that's pretty much the steps that we took in this one. We only do 2 days in the sixth grade, and for the first day, we go over the curriculum logo. We teach them about drawing a line and respecting a line, which is what the class is about. Consequences of their actions, good or bad. Pressures come from close friends. We discuss that a lot because that's usually where they feel their pressures. We play a Simon Says game with the kids that demonstrates how some students are more cautious and draw their lines before others. Kids really enjoy that game. We do a family activity with them related to a quote from the lesson. If the shrimp falls asleep, the current will carry it away. And this is just to open up communication with the kids and their parents. So it's work from the workbook. Day 2, we present basic communication skills. This is the start of the curriculum. It teaches kids how to get out of pressure situations. And then the other activity for day 2 is the students participate in role play activities to utilize those learned communication skills. Things like, I dare you to jump off a roof, or I dare you to steal a candy bar or soda. None of these things are in a sexual content.
Good afternoon, Superintendent Hughes and board members. My name is Tammy Watson, and I'm a senior community health nurse, registered nurse at the Department of Health. And I'm going to kind of build on what Christy did. I'm going to seventh grade for day 1. Day 1, students are welcomed in. Workbooks are passed out. On day 1, we read a story about 2 students, James and Alana. And this story teaches how important it is to have limits and to draw your line ahead of time. Choose ahead of time what you will and what you won't do so that you don't get caught in situations and make bad choices. Day 1, we also went over lesson 4, and that is drawing the line in situations that could lead to sex. We reviewed the 4 steps that were learned in 6th grade. We went over those, and they're effective for communication when communicating with someone else, but we did go over those for getting out of high pressure situations. Day 2, we did do lesson 2, reasons for not having sex. We read a story of Tina and Marco, which were 2 students who find themselves being pressured to cross their lines at a party. It discusses the consequences of crossing your line versus not crossing your line. Students did have a homework assignment with this lesson also, where they took the homework assignment home and they got to talk to their parents or their guardian or another trusted adult about this story, and they got their input, and it opened the doors for communication with their parents. We had a lot of kids, not all, but a lot of them participated in this, and we got really good feedback from this assignment. Day 2, lesson 3, handling risky situations. We learned what warning signs were. Warning signs are things that let the students know, I'm getting close to my line, I need to back up because I don't want to go that far in this situation. So they learned what those were, and they had several activities with that. Day 3, we learned STD facts. We read a story. We spent the day just talking about STDs, going over signs and symptoms of 6 of the most well-known STDs. We go over signs and symptoms, where they can get help if they think they have one, how do people get them, and how do people prevent getting those, okay? Just ending this, not to take up a lot of time, just want to say thank you for having us here to let you know just a little bit about what we do. I've taught this from day 1 of this curriculum all the way till that last day when it was stopped. I put my heart into this. I don't do anything to deceive any student. My goal is to protect my students, and I tell them that every time. And I'm just proud that I was able for 5 years to teach this curriculum. And I know I've made a positive impact on a lot of students in this county. So thank you. Eighth grade, yes. Day 1 HIV in teens, we learned, we read a story about a young lady that contracted HIV. She was a little older than our students that we teach in this grade, but she had a great message. She got it because she didn't know the risk. She was never taught the risk. She got HIV that is not curable. So we go over that. We go over an HIV fact sheet. We talk about what it is, how you can prevent getting it. Day 2, lesson 3, we talked about difficult moments. Again, we read a story about Trina and Kashid. And this story more or less represents it's important to set your limits and talk about them ahead of time with someone. Don't wait till the last minute and get in a situation that you can't change things. Day 2, lesson 4, sticking to your limits. We reviewed the steps from 6th and 7th grade. This builds each year. So what they learned in 6th, they picked up in 7th, and what they learned in 7th, they picked up in 8th, and they reviewed these steps because you can use these steps all through life. It's 4 steps of getting out of high pressure situations. So we went over those. Our last day, day 4, reduce your risk. And we spent the day talking about ways to reduce your risk of STDs, similar to the 7th grade version. We did modify by eliminating lessons 2, 5, and 7 from grade 8. We eliminated commercial break cards. Herman uses a condom in lesson 6, and we eliminated an anonymous question box from that lesson of 8th grade. So.
And I'm just gonna finish one thing, a couple of things I wanted to make sure that you all realize. We do not, nor have we ever promoted or taught sex over abstinence, abortion, homosexuality, transgenderism. We do not use the video, how to put on a condom, and the flyer that was passed out at the last meeting, we have never sent that out. Contraceptives are not given out, and the wooden prop was not passed around. So those things I did want to make sure you understood. We were not doing that in the classrooms. So that's it for us. Thank you.
Let me say one thing, Ms. Holly, while you stand there, all of you. I don't know these 2 teachers. That's why I said you come and share with the board. I know Ms. Holly Hope, and she knows me as a principal for 14 years. No nonsense. The only school in this district to teach Bible, my school, Walton High School. It was those beliefs that brought to this district. So I said, Ms. Hope, my thoughts were, I don't put up with whatever with children. And for 14 years as principal, I had no complaints. One, I had a teacher by that time, her name was Miss Betts. I was teaching at Walton High School for years. And it was, some boys were getting a little restless in there, and I walked in and sat there for a little bit. But other than that, I never had a complaint to this year as well, I never had a complaint. So, I mean, my mind was like, what has happened? I want to hear it. I'm demanding this review. I want the board to hear it, and I want it to be reiterated. That part of me hasn't changed. So that's why I said, I want these teachers here. Again, I don't know the teachers, so that will not change under my leadership, and that's why I had you all here. So thank you. I wanted to say that.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, and I appreciate them coming to share the lessons with you, because I think you need to hear it directly from them. Okay, I want to tell you what we did as far as checking the modifications. We did get out and talk to students and the teachers that actually sat in the program. And I have several statistics that I just want to provide to you. So we asked the students, tell us what the purpose of draw the line, respect the line was. And here are their most common responses. It's helping us to understand abstinence, the importance of safe sex, the consequence, risk of sex. We learned about STDs. We learned how to set boundaries. And it teaches students how to handle situations that they may be put into. We asked them, did the curriculum promote abstinence? 72% of the kids we talked to said it did promote. It said 72% said it was discussed. 61% said abstinence was promoted. We asked if the program promoted sexual behavior. 86% said it did not. We asked if the program, any parts of the program were uncomfortable. 80% said it did not make them feel uncomfortable. And when they cited what made them feel uncomfortable, it wasn't necessarily related to sex. We asked them, did they take part in role plays? 40% said they did. And examples of such regarded peer pressure, deciding not to have sex, if a student gets an STD, how to say no, if their friends dare them, being offered drugs or alcohol. They said, what did you learn from the program? How to set boundaries, the importance of abstinence. You can always say no. You are responsible for your actions. Actions have consequences. And we said, if we didn't have this program, do you believe another should be put in place? And 87% of the students said yes. We also talked to the teachers that sat in the program, and I want to share just a few things. We said, what was the purpose of the program? They said to help students learn about setting boundaries, teaches students safe practices and abstinence, teaches students about peer pressure, encourages students to make informed and good decisions. We said, did it promote abstinence? 100% said yes. Did the Draw the Line encourage any sexual behaviors? 100% said no. Did the course noticeably make any students feel uncomfortable? 80% said no. At the end of the course, what do you feel they wanted students to take away? They said, stay healthy, get boundaries, understand consequences, build confidence, abstinence promotion, and it's okay to say no. We said, if the program were no longer used, do you think another one should be put in place? And the answer was yes. So I just wanted to let you know that we checked up on the modifications with very open-ended type questions.
What school was that done at?
We randomly chose 2 middle and 2 high. We chose Paxton, Emerald Coast, Walton High, Freeport High. We chose high school too because they'd been through the program before. Okay, Ms. Apple's going to share next steps.
Let me say this to you, again, talking about getting a picture. I quickly said, I said to you, I want to see what my kids were taught. So it's not that they didn't trust anybody, but I want to hear from my children. So I said, get out there and talk to children, because that's the end result that I want to hear, to find out what happened.
Thank you, Dr. Hawthorne. Thank you, Superintendent Hughes. So what has been done since the March 1st board meeting, and how are we moving forward? The Draw the Line, Respect the Line supplemental service was discontinued by Superintendent Hughes on March 2nd in all Walton County schools. Our principals and the Department of Health were notified. Principals were asked to share with parents that the service was canceled if their schools had upcoming classes scheduled. Please do not confuse the Draw the Line, Respect the Line Department of Health service with our required instruction per state statute. Per state statute, with these 2 statutes listed here, and within our school board approved student progression plan, we are required to teach comprehensive health education. Within our comprehensive health education, this is listed in our student progression plan. Any child whose parent presents to the principal a signed statement that the teaching of the above mentioned diseases As you can see, them listed are HIV infection, AIDS, and other sexually transmittable diseases, and reproductive health, interpersonal skills, and family life to reduce teenage pregnancy and promote healthy behavior. So any of these diseases, its symptoms, development, treatment, and the use of instructional aids, materials of such subjects conflicts with his or her beliefs will be exempt from such instruction. So no child so exempt will be penalized by reason of such exemption. This is in our student progression plan, and this is in the statute.
Now with that, I did want to point that it's required, actually state law says that parents have to opt out. All except for one school, it was opt-in. That's important, so that's another layer of that this district took students being involved.
Thank you, sir. With our current standards, here's an example of some of our required instruction standards in middle school. As you can see, per statute, we do have to teach comprehensive health education. Here are 3 examples of 8th grade, 2 examples of 7th grade, and 2 examples of 6th grade. Moving forward, Superintendent Hughes has tasked us. We have developed a team that will review our school board approved curriculum that meets the comprehensive health education required standards in grades 6 through 8. This curriculum includes Suite 360 that was board approved in July, and our HMH Florida Science textbooks. These are listed on our website as required. This review team will be comprised of parents, a middle school PE teacher, a middle school science teacher, community organizations such as the Department of Health, and curriculum instruction staff.
Let me talk about that, and that's what the opportunity I've stated. We do have some required responsibility for standards that have to be taught, and you all know how I am with even buildings. We want to get parents involved. Other things, we want to get parents involved. So I'm going to task our team with those kinds of participants, collaboration, to create something that we can be proud of, that we can meet the standard, that meets the needs of different parents that may not be raised in a house like mine, or those to have some involvement. Also, you see I did keep Department of Health on there, and let me tell you why. Because as you can see, they have information that's going on in the community that we can address through the side standards. And I believe we have an opportunity to create our own and then share with the state. And that's the way I like to do it in Walton County. I hope that you know that. We're not just going to do it for our kids, but if this is an opportunity and other districts are using this, then we're going to create something that I can, number one, say we stopped where we were with that, created our own, keep those at the table that need to be at the table, and devise and share through the state. I'll be willing, although I am with the State Department, I'll be willing to share what we create with state, DOE, whomever else, and any other superintendent, of something that we can be comfortable with, proud of, meet the needs of parents and students, and keep our community safe. So that's, I'm excited about that part, because in the end, we gotta put, we're gonna move forward. I want you to get a picture of what happened, what's been done, hear from those who were part of it, and then show you how we're gonna move forward. Bottom line, draw the line is not being taught in Walton County. I stopped that, whatever date it was, it's done. So I wanted you to hear this presentation, show where we're going, and here we are. So this time, Madam Chairman, any questions that the board may have for this?
I just have one clarification. So to clarify, the comments that we were hearing during public comment at the meeting on March 1st that were read were not actually what was part of the curriculum being taught to our students.
Right.
That was part of the curriculum itself, but not what we were providing.
Right. From data collected.
I don't know if all of the comments that were read were not included. I think some of them would.
whatever ones you all want to share, that's fine.
I do appreciate the clarification as far as what the modifications that were made in the health department. Thank you all for being here and doing that. Because that does help to clear up. And I think some of what was read at the last meeting, opened our eyes to some concerns, but it does give me some reassurance that a lot of that was not being taught or presented, based on what our research shows and what we can recommend. So I appreciate everybody all the time that's gone into that.
Well, I appreciate, our superintendent stopping the program. And second, I appreciate the fact, of his desire to want to be transparent and clear and to give everybody involved an opportunity to share. Now, if this program is on the DOE website, then I want to start working to get it off of the DOE curriculum. Because I read the books, I got the books, and I hadn't really planned to read out of the books until there was a summary of what was taught, and I just feel that the program is inappropriate. And like I said, I hadn't planned to read those, but because it was shared of what was taught, there were things in the story about James and Elena. James and Elena, they told James to get out there and have some sexual experiences so he can be a man. And he doesn't want to be the last guy in the world to have sex. And then Lisa thinks it's smart to have sex because it's a natural part of growing up. And she says it's the best way to keep a guy interested in you. And then one day after school, James and Elena, James feels this incredible surge of sexual energy. He wraps his arms around Elena and lies down on top of her. He thinks this is probably the most exciting moment in his entire life. Now, that's a story that we were told that we just read a little story, and I think that is incredibly inappropriate. The other story was about Tina and Marco. And Tina and Marco, and I quote from the book, they didn't really talk about having sex, it just happened. After they did it, Tina and Marco found their friends and went home.
Disgusting.
And I just think that's just inappropriate, and that doesn't make me think of abstinence, if that's what our children are reading.
Thank you.
About STDs, it says here that teenagers can get medical care for STDs on their own, often for free. They don't need to tell their parents unless they want to. That's just incredibly inappropriate to share with the child from an adult they have no relationship with except for 3 days for 55 minutes. I just think this conversation should be between a parent and a child. Conversation when the child is ready, when it's age appropriate, when they're mature, and over time, not in the 55-minute session in the 7th grade. I'm a real believer in train up the child in the way he should go.
Yes.
You know, and I know there was a comment made, we only had one complaint, but it only took one complaint to get prayer out of our school, so one complaint is powerful.
Amen.
And the statistics that were given, in 2017, the statistics were given, but we only saw from 2018 through 20. And all of those were less than 1%. No child getting pregnant is a good thing. But those were less than 1% on all those statistics from what I could figure based on the number of students that were there. So like I said, I've read these books. I also looked into the ETR who publishes these. It's the Educational Training Resource, and they are about advancing health equity. If you go on their website and look at their health equity framework, you would be very unhappy to hear what they believe about schools and the power that school has. It was just, so I thank you for taking this out. I respect that you wanted all players to have an opportunity to clarify what they're doing, but I think it's just an inappropriate program, and from what I understand, we have standards in place in our health education as you showed those standards. Let's teach those standards that we have that are state law. And this program that was in addition to those, we don't need that program. And I respect this committee. If they have a committee that comes together, they need to have the option to say, we don't need a program in the 6th, 7th, and 8th grades. Let's empower our parents. Let's empower our church.
Yes.
We can have small groups to teach teenagers or dads that are single dads. You know, I talked with my pastor. We can have small groups to help teach some of those who might not be able to talk about this. I went online, how do I talk sex to my daughter? There were 43 videos online coming from different perspectives that a parent could choose to have a conversation. But I believe it's a conversation between a parent and their child when they are ready. And I think we would be well served to not have this program in our schools.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
No, I appreciate you bringing that up. The books that when I read through them, I was disappointed in kind of the content of what was included. I would have preferred a much different program, and so I appreciate the superintendent being willing to pull this. And I agree, as a parent with kids in this age bracket, the importance of that discussion in our home as parents with our kids. But I also understand that there are a lot of families that don't look like that, that don't have those conversations. So there's concern that the statistics of the number of pregnancies that we have in that age bracket is highly concerning to me. That is much higher than I expected those numbers to be. And I don't know what the answer is to help with that. I don't think this is part of that, but there's a level of, I think you hit on it, the involvement from churches, if there's small groups, something where we can partner with that. I'm curious to see what that looks like, but there's definitely a need in our community, and I think the front line and the ideal is the parents, and for that family communication to be there. But for those where they're either unwilling or unable to have that conversation, where they don't have the relationship to have that conversation, there's a gap there that I still have concern of how. I don't know if it's primarily our responsibility as a school district, but we're a partner in that. I mean, there's some role that I think that maybe it's to provide information to parents so they can have those conversations at home, or a guardian or something like that, rather than just going straight to the student. So that may be a way to do that. But yeah, I appreciate what you said there and for the clarification. I think it's a conversation that we need to have, and really it is to make sure that parents are equipped if they need additional resources or assistance. And so if there's a way that we can help with that, then I think that would be something that committee could look at on how we go forward doing that.
And when you look at the statistics, if there's a particular community, if there's a particular school where these statistics are higher, just like we focus in reading, we go there when kids can't read and we help them with reading. We can help them with other things and help parents also. We had a website on a program on our website that was called Why Engage in Challenging Courses, that parents could go to and learn about how to get our kids involved in challenging courses. We can do the same kind of thing with parents to say, this is a good video for you to watch on how to talk to your child. But like I said, I've said enough.
Any other comments? I appreciate you all in the comments as well. Thank you. As well as our colleagues.
And if I could just say this, and thank you for your comments. reflection. And you mentioned something, and I want you to understand this, because I raised two. The difficult thing being a public educator is, man, there's some homes that don't have mom and daddy. That's difficult. And that's why I go where I go so often, because I want to try to be their mom and dad as much as I can. So to keep this information in front of us, of teenagers who have HIV and are currently sexually active, is important. That we somehow find a way to help those children with and without parents. And I think this committee can get together, provide something that will help. I believe that. I believe people who have on this team can look at, okay, I'm husband, I have a husband and wife in the house and 2 children. Might be a friend of mine that has only a dad, only a mom, with opposite gender children. How can we help them? So I want to help parents to make decisions for their children. That's what it is about, parent rights. And I want to help children that don't have parents that will help them. That's hard for me. I don't even know if we can do it. We're going to commit to doing it. I want you to understand that there are children that won't come to my house or come to my church. Then I go to them and give candy during Halloween. And I want to say, I want to help this child because I know who your parents are and what they're teaching you at home. That's tough. It's a reality that I have to struggle with because I want to look in that parent's and go, why aren't you teaching that child? There are a lot of scenarios out there. You don't want to get into all of those. But I have full confidence in this committee that they will get together for a program and decide if, hey, we don't need to address it at all. Let's just do what we need to do to meet the standard and back away from it. If this committee says so, okay. That's why I put them together. I believe that they can come to that decision. So if they do choose, we're not gonna touch any of this, just let the parents decide whatever. I'm willing to do that, and that's why I put this committee together. I want you all to know where my heart is.
I do have one question on the committee. Are we including some of the people that voiced their concerns at the last meeting? So
Absolutely.
they can
I
have
said this,
input?
and I have talked to her, Ms. Johansson, where I asked her, when we talked in the parking lot, I told her I wanted to put her on the committee before I even stopped it, and all this came out. And I don't know if she will, but she's gonna, they're gonna reach out to her, and she was on my list, as she was on some other curriculum earlier this year already, haven't you?
Yes, I have to sit in on the math review as well, and that was a very extensive process. I appreciated being a part of it because I got to see how much time and dedication is put into reviewing other curriculums.
And that's, I think, I met you at a meeting, and I told you I was gonna get you involved and called you, is that correct?
Absolutely, yes,
All right,
thank you.
Absolutely, so, we're gonna do that, we're gonna do what's right. And the moment I stop, I'm quitting. Write that in your book, I'm gonna do what's right for children. When that is when that's different, and I will not be superintendent in this school district or anywhere else, because I'm gonna keep fighting at my church, at my house, at my neighborhood. We're gonna do what's right for kids, and that's period. And like I said, I'll say this, and I'll go ahead and go on record. I'll look through everybody here to see children. That's why I am where I am doing what we're doing. These children deserve it. That's those with moms and dads and those without. That's what we're gonna do. That's where we're going forward with it. You can burn these books if you want to, or whatever you want to do. We're not doing it. We're gonna create our own. We'll go forward. Thank you very much, Madam Vice Chairman. It's in your hand. It is in your hand.
Thank you,
You say.
Mr. Raymond first, since he's on our list here. Mr. Raymond, you had mentioned that you might be able to make comments.
Yeah, I got a copy. First of all, anytime it says University of
Just a
California.
reminder, there's 3 minutes,
I said, first of all, that's what I started talking earlier. First of all, it says the University of California recommended to put out. That's no. I'm from California. I left California for the crap they put in. And also, I want, if all parents that are here, you need to come to school board meetings.
Well,
You need to get involved. No, I'm being honest. I've been here a year, and I've seen a lot of parents that haven't been here. And I know, but I'm also trying to empower people to get involved. And the second or third one is, this man's got convictions. Really, he does. I mean, to put a stop, figure it out, move ahead. And he's got compassion for kids. And I hope that he runs for another election, because district needs him. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Hanson, would you want to speak?
Yeah, go ahead, and then I'll go next.
Oh, I was on the list, but it's okay.
Go.
State his name.
Need your name.
I'm Jonathan Johansson. Good evening, Superintendent. Good evening, Board. I thank you, as well as Moms for Liberty. I represent them as well, for stopping Draw the Line curriculum after our last meeting. We appreciate your quick action and following through as promised. At the last meeting, I shared with you some of my involvement with students in Freeport through Fellowship of Christian Athletes, coaching, small group leading at Destiny Worship Center. Tonight, I just want to share with you a lesson that I learned from my time of service in the Marine Corps. 4 simple words: inspect what you expect. I believe that we all, including everybody here tonight that has shared, and I'm talking about on behalf of the children that have your typical mom, dad at home, or the child that may be in very unfortunate circumstances, that I was blessed not to be raised in those things, and I thank God every day for that. I believe we all share the expectation that only safe and age-appropriate content should enter our schools, which is why I continue to inspect how Draw the Line and other curriculum has entered our school. I had some questions, but they were answered. They were answered on the presentation, so thank you. So I have a couple of just disputing comments to some of what was shared. The note home to his parents talked about refusal skills and abstinence being the driving factors. Trying to get an 11 or 12-year-old to learn that putting their hand up a girl's shirt and then you learn that you draw the line is inappropriate for that age should not be in there at all, period. And even before that, this argument is null and void by the statutes. We're only required to teach health. We are not required to teach reproduction. As it was said, that's a parent's job, and I understand that there are children that don't have mom and dad typical parents at home, but there are some that do, and they are trying to raise their kids in a certain way. And for those children, I know a lot of them because at Destiny Worship Center, I'm the small group leader for middle school kids and high school kids, and they weren't raised like I was raised, and I have a heart for them, and I don't want there to be any misconfusion that I don't. Another dispute to what was shared. The teachers have assigned 4 grade assignments for children that did not want to participate or were opting out. I'm around Freeport Middle School, I'm around Freeport Elementary School, I'm around Freeport High School in different capacities, and I know this information. Assignments for, okay, and then I have teachers have been out of the classroom while the nurses have been in. Teachers have been on vacation during that time. That's all I have.
Mr. Hanson, you can speak.
Good evening, Board and Superintendent Hughes. I wasn't quite sure how the conversation was going to go, so I didn't prepare any handouts this time. But I did, would you mind just pushing pause on that? Or maybe I'll give my time to somebody else, but we emailed the health department and we just asked for the statistics
because Holly Cole kept mentioning the statistics, and again, they brought up the statistics tonight. So what are the statistics that they talk about? And Walton County, I don't have it, it went away, but I'll pull it up later. But they sent us the numbers, and Walton County, the number of births for children aged 15 to 18 in Walton County compared to the rest of the state of Florida is double. And that's from 2017 to 2020, since this program has been in place. And then you think, well, what about, those are just births. What about all of the babies that didn't make it? There's other forms of contraceptive and of course abortion, because this program is the education arm of Planned Parenthood. So then you look at STDs. And again, STDs have increased by 10% in Walton County since 2017, since this program was implemented. So I don't know what statistics they're referring to, because I got the statistics straight from the health department. Patty, you know Patty?
She's my assistant, Roberts.
Yes. She's the one that sent us the information. So I'd really like to see the statistics, but we're looking at number of births and STDs, and they just continue to go up. So that's, inspect what you expect. We would expect the numbers to go down. But again, this whole argument is a moot point, because we shouldn't even have it in the schools. And we can argue, you know, back and forth whether it should or whether it shouldn't, and does it do more harm or good. But again, you just, math, numbers don't lie. So if we're looking at the numbers and at the statistics, it doesn't seem like it's gotten any better. So I'd really like to work with the district and come up with action steps to make, because it's all for the kids. I think we all have the same, we all have the children. They're our number one. They're why we're here. They're why we do it, why you do what we do, and why we care to get involved. So we want their whole lives to be better. So I hope the action steps that we can put in place are, the parent review committee will help tremendously. Really reviewing what and who is coming into the school. And I can vouch that we know teachers that could go on vacation. They were not in the classrooms during those 3 days. And we heard from we heard from administration, we heard from other teachers prior to us coming to the board meeting last week, and they were in support of us. They were glad that we were taking a stand.
Thank you.
Yes, Lisa Robertson, co-chair with Krista Johansson and Jolene Jasser from Moms for Liberty. I have 2 boys that I pretty much raised on my own without a dad, and I would have never picked this curriculum. And some of the questions that I have for you as a board, I know your heart, I know you care about the children very clearly. You have taken our school from what number to number 6. It's wonderful to hear that we have Bible in our school. But we Moms for Liberty also know the statute, read the statute, and it's what brought us to the meeting. And my question is for 1003.42, all instructional material as defined in 1006.29 used to teach reproductive health or any disease, including HIV, AIDS, its symptoms, development, and treatment, as part of the course's references in subsection 3, must be annually approved by a district board in an open notice public meeting. What happened? What happened from 2017 to 2022? How did you not get the information? What is our connection with the health department? Are they giving us monies? Are we getting monies for having this program? Christy Holt said, we didn't choose this program. Who chose it? Who chose it? I'm glad we're where we are and we're not taking this program, but how did we get here? That's 4 years of children that have been listening to those stories.
we called the health department, we got those numbers. The only other county that is teaching this program is DeBlau. We are 20% higher than all the other counties, which are at 10%. I called Okaloosa School County, Destin Middle School. They opted out of the program. They don't even teach it. We, Moms for Liberty, want to know what the connection with the school board is to the Department of Health, who chooses these programs, and we just want to be a part of helping our kids as much as you do. That's all we are here for. We want to help our kids too. And we came into the first school board meeting and we said, we are so happy to be here. It's wonderful to live in Walton County. We are blessed with the school board that we have. We want to work together with you, Moms for Liberty, because we hear all the stories in all the other counties. It just keeps getting bigger, Moms for Liberty. I mean, Governor DeSantis is gonna hopefully make Tina Dershowitz the head of DOE once Corcoran's out of there. They put another lady from Moms for Liberty on the education board. We wanna work with you, but we want answers as to how we got where we are.
Hello everyone, I'm Michelle Sims.
You gotta turn it to the board.
I'm Michelle Sims.
Your parents know you're here?
Yes. And this is Sophia.
Okay,
She's
so
our
we have 3
sister.
minutes.
Okay. And this is.
Okay. Could you state your full first and name so I can write them down?
I'm Anna Barthes. Barthes.
Okay, thank you.
And then Michelle Sims.
And Sophia Sims. Thank you, ladies.
Okay. So I would just like to start that I do come from a very conservative Christian family, just to kind of put that on a basis for everyone for where I'm coming from. However, I'm also going into the medical field, so that kind of plays a part in my answer as well. I did go through the course my 8th grade year, and then she did it her 7th and 8th. I was the first person to do this course 5 years ago. Some of the stuff that is being taught, and as I've heard, I do feel like is very age inappropriate. I don't agree with draw the line, whatever, but I do feel like whether it be at a high school standpoint, some form of like education, whether that be reproductive, whatever, needs to be taught, because kids that we see now don't even know the other gender's genitalia. You know what I mean? Just putting it straightforward. And I feel like that is a big problem, not to know what your body is. Also, I think she wants to discuss a little bit, to think that this information is only coming from parents now with social media, I think we really have to look into that, and with the misinformation that we see on a daily basis being spread, is also a very big concern as well.
And I do want to add something in. I kind of come from the opposite. My mom is a single mom. I'm estranged from my dad. He wasn't really present when I was younger, and she relied on the school system to teach me these things. You know, of course we had the talk, but she didn't go into depth that I experienced at a different school, not in Walton County.
Well, I feel like you can't just base the curriculum that was taught, like draw the line, respect the line, like completely for all the pregnancies and stuff, because if you look at social media, it's just getting younger and younger for the amount of like kids that are using it, and it's sad to see, but like the amount that like sexual activity is being presented and drugs and all these abuses, it's just being pushed and pushed younger and younger on social media specifically. So I feel like draw the line or some sort of thing needs to be present to help people understand that you can't just like do that because it looks cool or whatever, because it's so sad to see how many like younger kids are being pushed that information through social media. So something does need to be pushed or helped with that.
And
sense.
regardless of if there's a program present, we are exposed to it regardless. By word of mouth, our peers, or social media, and I just think it's necessary that we get the correct information in our schools. Because there are so many rumors and false information going around. I know some people who don't even know what their own anatomy is, to be honest. And I learned the most through my health course in middle school and through anatomy and physiology here at South Walton. That's how I learned the most, is through science.
Thank you, ladies.
I can say just one thing. being here and the comments, and I think what we'll do is we'll add a student onto that team, and one that's aged and have made these experiences that can add value to what I previously had a bunch of adults.
Okay, so we're gonna move on now. Thank you to everyone who spoke and everyone who listened and all of the comments. We're gonna move